Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
Welcome into the Fairways of Life show, folks. Absolute delight to have your company. It is President's Cup week, and we are all chilling and getting ready for all of the great competition, surely, that will lie in store in and around the world of golf, most notably the President's Cup. But before we get to that, we want to look back to what was in the world of golf, because there was a lot that went on over the course of the week. And I know it's a funny time of year to have that conversation, because you've got the NFL in the full throes of their season. You've got college football, which is going mad. In that particular week, we had Solheim Cup, which, again, congratulations to Team USA for getting it done and getting the Solheim Cup back in their possession. It had been a while since they held it. And then you had the BMW PGA Championship, which I want to get to in a second because it was distinctive, on the DP World Tour, as you guys know, formerly called the European Tour. You had the Procore Championship on the PGA Tour. That was the first event of the FedEx Cup Fall. That is the new way that the PGA Tour is structuring the fall events, which essentially, it doesn't exclude players who have already earned elite status for 2025 from playing, but this run through to the week of Thanksgiving, the RSM Classic, this run is designed to secure and ensure who are the players that are going to fill out the rest of the PGA Tour cards to 125, and then also who will get partial status beyond that, say 126 to 200, et cetera. There's different categories. So that's all part of what will be sorted in this season that we're in right now. So you had the Procore Championship, you had Patton Kizzire, a veteran player up against all of these other things, including Liv, who concluded their individual competition, which incidentally ended up going to John Rahm, which was an exciting finish there too. So we had all these different things going on, but let's start where it started, at least from a North American perspective, when you probably got up in the morning with your beverage, a tea or a coffee or whatever, and you had a chance to watch the BMW PGA Championship. And what an incredible way that it finished. At the BMW PGA Championship, you had South African Tristan Lawrence in a playoff, ultimately, against Rory McIlroy and Billy Horschel. And I wish I had time even to recap the way that they earned their way into the playoffs because of the great play right down to the finish that got them into that spot. But when it finished, it was Billy Horschel with an eagle putt on the 18th hole, that par 5 18th, the iconic par 5 18th with the stream that runs right in front of the green. He and Rory, the second time, both got home in two. Rory made a really nice birdie before him. Really good effort at eagle, frankly. But then it was a similar line to what Billy Horschel had, and maybe Billy learned a little bit from Rory's putt. We do know that he made the putt for eagle, and that was his second time winning the BMW PGA Championship. So it was a mix of emotions, which we will sort for you coming up. First of all, though, we want to hear from the winner, Billy Horschel, who obviously was elated with his win, but he felt for his friend.
It feels amazing. I mean, I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I'm speechless. I can't put into words, what this moment means to me, and it still hasn't truly sunk in. But yeah, I mean, it was a special tournament that I love to death, and to come out as a two-time champion. Yeah, I'm just over the moon. I do enjoy coming over here. I do enjoy, all parts of the UK. I do fancy London, and especially Surrey. I've made some great friends over here that, hang out with when I come over and spend time with. And as I've told, I say many people, but a few people over the years, it wouldn't shock me if somewhere down the road, I do buy a little place over here and spend some time over here in the summer when my kids are growing and out of the house. Unlike 21, Deck and Knowles were here. I don't know if anyone was, actually, my bad. Trip Smith, one of the minority owners, who's a really good friend of mine, the American owner of West Ham, was out here. And then we had another buddy out here as well, a couple other buddies out here, but he was the only one from the club from West Ham. Yeah, I hear a lot of West Ham and come on your irons and up the hammers. But listen, I was playing with Rory McIlroy, and he's going to have the most support and the most people behind him, which I would, if I was a fan, I'd be right there with him, supporting Rory. So, yeah, I mean, I get a great support system when I come over here with the fans, but it's nothing compared to Rory. I think I just said, I made the putt and I was excited, but at the same time, I felt I could feel for him because he's a friend of mine. I've known him since 2007. I think the world of him. I think he's the best player in our generation. I know he's had, somewhat of a tough back end of the year of not getting some victories when it looks like it's going to be his. And I can understand, he does such a good job of sort of, I think, canceling out the outward noise and some of the critics that, criticize him at certain times for not winning certain events and getting it done. But, I can just feel for him because this is just another one that adds into that, narrative going forward. But, he's great. He was happy for me, and it was just two really good friends trying to battle out there at the end. Well, I flew over on Friday night. I went to a West Ham game Saturday, see a 1-1 draw with Fulham. Be honest with you, I just wanted to come over here and play a really solid week of golf. Did I think I could win? I felt like if my game showed up, yes. But I'd taken 2 weeks off. I had to deal with a back injury. And so my game I hadn't spent as many hours. I hadn't been as sharp. I wasn't as sharp as I wanted to be coming in here. So I knew I would just had to sort of be kind to myself and be patient and not, get too frustrated if things weren't perfect and weren't working the way I wanted to. And just sort of try and play my way into some good form. And I did a really good job of that. And honestly, if I don't putt well this week, I don't win. There's no doubt about that because I did not hit it good enough to win this tournament. But I managed my game well, and I made a lot of good putts. I made a lot of long putts that allowed me to be sitting up here right now. Listen, I mean, I would love to be on that President's Cup team. Jim Furyk's a really good friend of mine. Him and Tabitha are great friends of my wife and I. We think the world of them. We look up to them and what they've done in the Northeast Florida community with charities and everything. And so we've sort of copied them and supported our Northeast Florida area. And Jim's been a great, mentor, and I can ask him questions throughout the years, especially early in my career. And I would love to have been part of that President's Cup team, but honestly, I didn't think I was going to get a pick. There's people around me who felt like I probably should have been on this team, but I didn't think I was going to get a pick for some reason. And so, there was no motivation or added motivation to, not being picked on that team. So, I just got to do a better job of playing well on a more consistent basis so I don't have to worry about picks going forward. Yeah, I mean, it was funny because I think before I hit that putt, I was like, if I make this putt, do I do a fist pump or a celebration or something, over the top, or do I do what I did? I felt like, out of respect for Rory and the respect I have for him, I felt like, a smile, a fist pump, but then to look at him and sort of, see him have a smile on his face and give me the nod of approval, that was, that meant, the world to me.
Okay, so Billy Horschel addressing the media after his victory at the BMW PGA Championship, and there's a lot to sort there, which we won't have time to get into all the different directions, including his reaction to Rory's emotions when Rory lost to him in that playoff. And the thing I think is interesting about that, I'll just say it quickly, is it reminds me of the stories of talking to old timers back in the day when they started beating with regularity Arnold Palmer. And in particular, when Billy Casper beat Palmer in 66 at the U.S. Open, I spoke to Mr. Casper about that, obviously, years later. And he told me that while he was full of joy with the victory, that he overcame Arnold Palmer and won that U.S. Open, he also felt really sad. He had that mix of emotions because he beat Arnold Palmer to do it. And we're starting to hear similar stories like that when people overcome Rory McIlroy. McIlroy, though, is younger than Palmer was at that same time, but not by much, but he's younger than where Arnold Palmer was. The other thought that I have is Billy becoming the next Keegan Bradley? Do you know what I'm saying? Because doesn't Billy represent the epitome of what we want or should want on Team USA? And yet he's not there. He's not thought of as a guy that automatically could get a consideration. We've had conversations after even this President's Cup pick about, hey, why didn't you put so-and-so on the team? It's okay to have that conversation about why they're not on the team, even though they didn't play well enough to qualify for the team. But Billy's not in that conversation for some reason. Is it because he's not sitting at the popular table yet? It's just interesting to me because he seems to me to represent the direction that, at least from a Ryder Cup side, with the appointment of Keegan Bradley, that they're going to saying, we're done with picking guys because they're friends of guys and all the rest. We want to get the best of the best on the team. And he goes out and he wins that event the way that he won it. And it just builds on the reputation that is Billy Horschel. Now, Rory McIlroy. He spoke afterwards. We can comment following his sound as to what you thought about Rory's performance and this loss for Rory McIlroy. But here he is in his own words.
Yeah, I mean, last week was a tough one, this one. But I left there with my head held high with, the way I played the last hole, trying to make three. And then, played the playoff holes, perfectly, really, a couple of birdies. But it just shows the standard out here. If you slip up just a little bit or, don't make a birdie on a crucial hole, someone's always waiting to take advantage of that. And, I had my chance in regulation, had a really awkward yardage for my second, tried to turn a 4-iron over. And, I was lucky that it didn't go in the water. So I was, still could have got up and down for the win in regulation, but I was still sort of feeling pretty lucky that the ball stayed up and I could make par and get into the playoff. So but 2 weeks in a row, played well, just not quite well enough, but happy with where my game is. I'm happy where it's trending. Got a week off here and then get back at it, the Dunhill, in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I was hitting it at the right bunker, trying to turn it over a little bit to get a bit extra out of it, and I just overdid it. And it sort of pitched level with the front edge of the green, but obviously left of the hazard, which again was a bonus. But it was almost, because 5-wood was too much. You didn't want to go long to that pin, so it was either 4-iron or lay it up and try to hit a wedge in, sort of like what Billy did. But when you're only 225 yards to the front of the green, you feel like you sort of have to go for it. So yeah, just one of those things. But played the two playoff holes really well and hit, especially the 4-iron I hit into the green in the second playoff hole was great, and hit a good putt that just slid by on the right, and Billy made his, and that was the difference.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy's perspective, I think, is a healthy one here, because last week, and it wasn't because of what he did at the Irish Open on 18, where he did have a chance to catch Højgaard, who incidentally finished with a 5 under 65, which in this conversation, people kind of forget the fact it's all about what Rory didn't do, and they forget the fact that the guy that won shot a 6 under 65, full stop. However, he did 3-putt 17, so that deserves to be mentioned in context to what happened at the Irish Open. In this case, at the BMW PGA Championship, Rory McIlroy played his heart out. He just got beat. That happens. So I don't see this one as a mark of Rory continuing to struggle, Rory almost reaching the mount, and yet he tumbles down by his own accord. In this case, Rory played really well and gave it a great fight. He just got beat. And isn't that the reason why we watch sport, to see those types of stories? So I liked his attitude about it. I liked the way that he reacted to it. I'm not particularly concerned about it from the standpoint of what's wrong with Rory McIlroy. Nothing's wrong with Rory McIlroy. He's in the mix and he's doing very well. I do think that once he gets to those points where he's that close to grasping victory, sometimes nerves kick in. And I think that's what happened at the throes of the Irish Open, not on 18, but on 17 in the past week at the BMW PGA Championship. I don't think that was the case at all. I think he was just a competitor, and he was a competitor that played very, very, very well, but he got beat to Billy Horschel. Now, I think this is a golden age of Lydia Ko. At the Kroger Queen City Championship, Lydia Ko continued to do what Lydia Ko is doing. We saw her win the gold medal at the Paris Olympics. We saw her win at St. Andrews, yet another major championship on her CV. And this weekend, out on the LPGA, Lydia Ko won again. Here she is.
Yeah, it's been pretty surreal. I think, the closer you get, I think in ways, doubts come into your mind, and you never know, like, oh, what if, like, I am that 1 point away and it never happens? But, for the most parts, I think I was able to, handle the situation pretty well. And, never in a million years would I have guessed that, I would have gone into the Hall of Fame through, winning the gold in Paris, and then, winning my first major since 2016 at the AIG Women's Open. And I mean, the European swing was, some of the best golf that I had played, and I was very grateful for that span of, a few weeks. But it was nice to take a few weeks off, and when you do take that kind of time off, it doesn't necessarily mean that the form's going to continue. But I played really solid on the first day and just kept giving myself a lot of good opportunities. And, even though there are some tougher holes out here at TPC Rivers Bend, I felt really comfortable out there. And, I wanted to post a good score today to kind of give myself a good run at it. And, I wouldn't have guessed, coming into today that I was going to shoot 9 under, but to be able to do that is definitely a cool way to cap off, this week. I don't think it's ever easy. You could win, by 10 strokes and still never feel like it was an easy round. I know that I'm playing alongside the best female golfers, and I've just got to focus until that last putt drops in the last hole. So I just wanted to give it my all. My ball striking has been a part of my game that I feel like has improved a lot, and is something that I'm more and more comfortable of, especially coming down the stretch when there are, big things on the line. And, for that to be better, I think that takes a little less stress, off, takes stress off my short game. And, it goes hand in hand, because when your ball striking is good, you feel like you're not putting as well or chipping as well. But, I think I would rather that way around than feeling stressed to make up and down, in half of the holes that I play. But yeah, it's been, improving a lot, and I feel like I've progressed a lot, whether it's actually with, my technique, but also the mental side of things as well. So that's kind of the aspect that I'm most proud of, is that I feel like I'm able to handle, these situations a lot better than, maybe a couple months ago. Yeah, Lorena Ochoa is actually somebody that I really look up to, and I hope that my career would be, quite similar to, retiring when I'm still playing well. I think I've always said that I would rather, retire and then at one point say, oh, if I kept playing, maybe I could have won, a few more than retire at a point where I feel like I should have left the game a long time ago. I don't know when that moment is right now. I enjoyed these past 3 weeks, and it was great being home and not to live out of my suitcase. But while I'm still competitively playing, I think it's always good to have goals. And the career Grand Slam seems so far out there, but what's happened these past couple months have been, that extent of craziness, I guess. So I wanted to set a goal that was something that I can work towards to, and whether that happens or not isn't as important, and it's just more the drive for me to keep wanting to put myself in contention, and hopefully be the one holding the trophy at the end of the week more and more after this week as well.
She is so very, very impressive. I'm a huge fan of Lydia Ko. It's been really cool to watch her through the arc of her career go from a phenom to now a person that carries herself with such incredible dignity that when you think about all the things that the game at its highest competitive tiers is dealing with, and then you look at Lydia Ko, she just looks like a statesperson. She just has a dignity that she carries herself with. It's amazing to think that she's actually still only in her 20s, but because of, again, her dignity, but also because of the fact that she's told us that she's going to retire, there's a sense that she's older, that she's at the end of her career because of that, what she was just talking about, the fact that she's going, basically, I'm going to go out on top. Really, really impressive stuff. All right, when the Fairways of Life show continues, when we come back, we're going to talk about the President's Cup. How, when, where, why, all of that as the show continues. It is presented by the PGA Tour Superstore. They are the #1 golf retailer, coast to coast. If you want it, if you need the professionals inside of that store to show you the what's for and why this is best for your game. Stay with us. More coming up.
I got ball fit in 2000, went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together, hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
I think when you're training for other sports, or why most people go to the gym is so that they can have muscles and be strong and be healthy. And a lot of the reason why they struggle to play golf is their body doesn't move properly for them to be able to hit a golf ball. And when you're training for golf, it's a little bit different because you're focused more on flexibility and mobility and being strong in motion. When you're able to kind of have a warm up and have a workout routine and kind of gradually build up to where you're training your body to move properly, yeah, you're going to get a lot of big dividends on the golf course.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
Super easy to hit. Introducing the new PXG Black Ops irons, our first game-improving iron.
It's a larger face heel to toe.
It launches the ball high in the air and really far.
Much higher levels of forgiveness. You set that club down, creates a lot of confidence. It's supported by this X-Core column material.
And that's where you get improved ball speed. If you're looking for a distance, forgiveness, and feel, Black Ops iron is going to be for you.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour Superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/Stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
How cool is that? That was from the President's Cup to give us a glimpse, and it was obviously Team USA and the international team, a room in each of them. We saw Xander Schauffele's bag specifically, but haven't you always wondered what it's like if you were on Team USA, or depending on what the competition is, Team Europe or international team, etc., and what it's like to go into your room and to see all of the stuff that you get the week? And if you're like me, the first thing you do is a mini panic and go, how do I ensure that I'm wearing the right thing each day? Now, they do put out charts that will help you get it right, but you still got to get the colors right and get the pieces right and all the rest. Hopefully they have it laid out per day for you, because for me, it ended up in a big pile in the corner of the room soon enough, and I'd be picking from it, figuring out what I have to wear. Welcome back to the Fairways Live Show, folks. Pleasure to have your company. President's Cup week. You can see on your television screen the way the President's Cup has come together so far. All of the information most acute, I think, at this point, is that Team USA coming into this week with a 12-1-1 record all time. Pretty strong record. There's no doubt about that. They're up at Royal Montreal this week, and this piece that Andrew and Don put together, I think, is particularly interesting to me and compelling, where it looks to you like I'm looking away, but I'm actually looking at my monitor here off the camera, where the international team has competed in 28 cups. That's cumulative for their team. Team USA with 11. Does that surprise you that there is that big a disparity between the two teams? USA's singles record, 7-2-2, international 13-13-2. The Team USA average official world golf ranking is 12.4. The international team's official world golf ranking is 34.4. So depending upon what direction you choose to go to build a story for whichever side, it's pretty easy to do with those kind of stats. That's what happens with stats. But let's dive into some of the details so we can talk more about this President's Cup, what it means, as I gave you the who, what, where, when, and why. First of all, this President's Cup history. The first was held back in 1994. Interestingly enough, it was at the Robert Trent Jones Golf Club, which is exactly where the Solheim Cup just took place. Team USA won that one. Team USA won the 1994 edition as well. This is the 15th President's Cup overall. USA leads the competition. As noted, international team's only victory came in 1998. 452 individual matches since that first one. The USA, obviously with an edge because they have the winning record of 220, 173, and 59. USA's all-time points leader is Phil Mickelson with 32.5 points. The international all-time points leader is Ernie Els with 21. Youngest U.S. player was Jordan Spieth all the way back in 2013. Feeling old now? He was 20 years old when he did that. The oldest USA player was Jay Haas in 2003, and he was 49 years old when he did that. He just shot his age again on the PGA Tour Champions a couple of weeks ago. Youngest international player, Ishikawa in 2009. Rio was 18 years old when he did that. The oldest international player, Jumbo Ozaki, in 1996. He was the same age as Jay Haas at 49 years old. Okay, here are the details of the performances. You heard me mention specifically 1998 when the international team won, and they won convincingly at Royal Melbourne. The last time the competition was held was in 2022 at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, where USA won. They went back to Royal Melbourne in 2019. And the sense was, you've come back to the place where the international team won their only time in this competition. And you know what? It was a tight competition. You can see the score there at 16-14. And you can just go right down the line. In 2015, it was another nail-biter. If you are a USA or international fan in terms of how it finished up, but the USA ultimately edging by 1 point away in that competition. Again, I was just speaking about the Jay Haas and the impact that the Haas has had there as well. But you can see the way that it flows all the way down to 2003 with the tie 17-17 and down to 1994 with that very first one that they had then. As to the competitors this year, let's take a look at them respectively. Team USA's captain, is Jim Furyk. International team's captain is Mike Weir. Distinctive because Mike Weir, obviously Canadian, and with the competition going on at Royal Montreal. For Team USA, and this is where you get into that very, very strong average official world golf ranking, Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Wyndham Clark, Patrick Cantlay, Sahith Theegala, Keegan Bradley, Sam Burns, Tony Finau, Brian Harman, Russell Henley, and Max Homa. There are those amongst that list in Team USA who this is their first time playing in a President's Cup. We're excited about that. Theegala is one that stands out in that regard. As to going through the list and the respective teams, because I was just going through Team USA, I'm going to pick up here with the international team on this graphic. If you're with us on the radio side, I'm going to read it out to you so you know. The individual cup records, President's Cup records. Adam Scott, 18, 25, and 6. Now, you'll hear a lot about Adam Scott over the course of this week from a leadership position, but from a points position, he has a losing record. I'm not saying that to disparage him. I'm just saying that as a matter of fact. Hideki Matsuyama is 7-10 in 5. Jason Day is 5-11 in 4. Then you get to Sungjae Im, 5-3. So the top 3 guys, the oldest guys, if you please, have a losing record. They need leadership from those guys, obviously. Siwoo Kim, 4-3-0. Tom Kim is 2-3-0. Corey Connors, 0-4-0. Christian Zadenhout, his second, 1-0-1. Taylor Pendrith, 0-4-0. Ben-An is 1-2-2. And then you've got Mackenzie Hughes and Minwoo Lee, who are rookies on the team. Remember me talking about the rookies on Team USA? Look at them down the bottom of this chart. Wyndham Clark, Brian Harman, Sahith Theegala, and Russell Henley. As to those at the top, Xander Schauffele is 6-3. Patrick Cantlay is 6-3. Winning records, yes. Tony Finau is 3-2-3. Scott, here's where it gets interesting, though. Scotty Scheffler's 0-3-1. If you didn't know the records, and I'd asked you what you think Scotty Scheffler's record is in the President's Cup, not Ryder Cup, in the President's Cup, would you have guessed that he was 0-3-1? His friend Sam Burns, 0-3-2. Colin Morikawa, 2-1-0. Keegan Bradley is 2-2-1. And Max Homa is 4-0-0. So that's a look at where we stand for records, team records, etc. Question is this. If, as Davis Love III told us, if the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup are not viewed individually, but collectively as Team USA, right? If, and I say if because I think there was a bit of a shift in the naming of Keegan Bradley as captain. I think that, and from what we understand, that was Seth Waugh, who was the outgoing CEO of the PGA of America that came up with that. That to me was a shift from the kind of, we already have our plan set, let's go with who we think it should be. If in fact Seth was like, let's go with Keegan, and everyone was like, okay, we'll give it a shot. So when you look at these leadership positions, how much can we read into it in terms of captains for the respective sides coming up? Now, in this case, I'm particularly talking about Team USA because I think it also gives us a glimpse on the Ryder Cup side, where you have Captain Jim Furyk, who's now been captain of both of those respective teams. But then you have Stuart Sink, Kevin Kistner, Justin Leonard, and Brandt Snedeker. I don't think there's any question that Stuart Sink's going to be a captain. And I think if he's not destined to be a captain of both, I get a sense he's definitely destined to be a captain on the Ryder Cup side. Kiss, I don't know. I mean, Kiss is one of these guys that everybody loves. He's got that same kind of aggressive mindset that I was talking about earlier in the show with Billy Horschel. Is that enough to lift him up to a captain's role, given his career accomplishments? You wouldn't think so, but with the personality, maybe. It's interesting nonetheless. Now, Justin Leonard, remember, had his height of glory in the Ryder Cup in that 1999 Ryder Cup team and the comeback from Team USA, particularly the putt that he made on 17. But for some from that 1999 team, notably, say, Marco Mira, I think there's more with that, where because that was the team that said, hey, there's a lot of money being made in this event. How come there's not more that could be done with, spreading it out a little bit from the player's perspective? Now, he wasn't necessarily talking about lining the players' pockets with more money, but maybe their charities, et cetera, et cetera. That's the exact same conversation that flared up over it, particularly the last Ryder Cup that was held in Rome. I don't know whether that will serve as a black mark going down the road from those players that were associated with that conversation. But it did impact players, like I said, Mark O'Meara, probably David Duval. Did Justin Leonard ultimately avoid the barbs on that? Obviously, Tiger Woods did. So it's just interesting when you look at that. And then there's Brandt Snedeker, which I would put in the same category as Kevin Kistner from the standpoint of, can he work his way through assistant and vice captain positions, and is that enough to eventually ascend into the top position for being a captain, whether you're talking about President's Cup or whether you're talking about Ryder Cup, respectively. Okay, that was a big education. We just loaded a lot of information at you in terms of what's going on and how it got to where it is right now. We're going to be back with more of the Fairways of Life show right after this.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
The best feeling iron I've ever hit. Introducing the new Gen 7 irons, the greatest leap forward in irons technology, in performance, in PXG history. Our new quantum core material explodes off the face. Are you kidding me? The Gen 7 irons deliver groundbreaking new levels of forgiveness, speed, distance, and feel. That's what I'm talking about right there. Look at that trajectory. Just phenomenal. Gen 7. It doesn't get any better.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Baseball? Nah. Football? Done it. I think I'm going to go after PGA Tour.
Playing on the PGA Tour is not easy. But you know what is easy? Hitting the 524 series from Tour Edge.
Hitting linebackers and home runs used to be easy.
Out here, you're going to need all the easy you can get. Introducing the 524 series from Tour Edge. The easiest clubs you'll ever hit. Even the best players in the world can use a little easy.
I like the sound of that. Look out, PGA Tour.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
What would your ultimate golf experience be like? Just you and a friend? Or would you round up some buddies for a foursome? Just one day? Or an entire week? There's a good chance your ultimate golf experience could be Michigan's magnificent 10. 10 incredible courses set among 3 remarkable resorts. See for yourself. Book your ultimate golf experience today.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
Think about having the career of World Golf Hall of Famer Mark O'Meara, and you decide that you're going to retire from competing. We're better to do it than Pebble Beach, where he's won 5 times. It was really cool. It was part of what I kind of opened today's show talking to you guys about. There was so much golf that took place last week. And yeah, I get it. It was up against a lot of other things that was going on. We're on the edge of baseball culminating and football, whether it's college or NFL, it's in the full throes, everything that's going on right now. But we still have where our passion lies in the game of golf, this chance to watch something that was emotional, something that, meant a lot. Obviously to Mark O'Meara, it meant the world, but it meant a lot to people who are fans of the game, and particularly people who are fans of Mark O'Meara. So when he wrapped up, he got a chance to reflect a little bit.
Look, like I've said earlier, I owe everything to Pebble Beach. The things that have transpired in my life, I would have never dreamed that. As a young kid, starting the game late at 12 and a half, 13, and growing up in Southern California, but coming to Northern California and seeing the Monterey Peninsula, Pebble Beach, winning the Cal State Amateur in 79, and then the rest of the things that have transpired, winning the last Crosby in 85, 4 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Ams, certainly the one playing with my father. I count my lucky stars that I've had this success here at Pebble Beach. And so for me to wind down my career and play my last competitive tournament at the, one of the most iconic places in the world, and the memories have all kind of sunk in, and that's why it's very easy to get emotional coming down the last couple of holes. Not that it's over, but more the, celebrating what's transpired in my life here at Pebble. They're the greatest. You only have so many close people in your life, and for them to come in and, spend their weekend, or to come to watch me follow around the last 18 holes around Pebble, meant the world to me. And, I'm very thankful for the people that have had an impact in my life. This game certainly has had a huge impact on my life, and I won't forget that. I'm thankful for every moment that I have walking certainly around this place. And it's not like I'll never come back to Pebble Beach again, but the fact that to be able to end a competitive 44-year career at Pebble Beach, I couldn't have picked a more special day and a more special place. Look, I'm still teary-eyed. I'm still kind of somewhat crying, and I think I'm an emotional guy? I am a little bit, but it's a little overwhelming. Coming down the last hole, or even on the 17th hole, seeing a friend of mine who's caddying for another player out here that's caddied for me for a number of years, another Mitch Windsor who caddies for Steve Flesh, and then Shane Joel who caddies for Doug Gam on the regular tour, who caddied for me for 10 years, to see that he would take the time to come up here and watch me go around. And certainly my manager Peter Malik, my wife Meredith, my daughter Michelle, friends, my doctor and his wife, and then friends that are in the business world that came and spent their Saturday afternoon to walk around Pebble Beach and watch me play my last round. Yeah, it's humbling, and it's awe-inspiring, so I'm thankful for them and what they've meant in my life. Well, I will. Everybody at the PGA Tour, we have an incredible organization. They know that a lot of everybody at the tour has my phone number, and if I can ever help the tour in any way, it's not like I'm never going to be involved with the game of golf or the PGA Tour, or the juniors that I've played with over the years. I always want them to feel like they can reach out to me, and if I can be of help, certainly I'll be there. This fall it's always steelhead season, where I'm usually in my tent or I'm steelhead fishing in some river, and I'll actually be up in northeastern Oregon, southeastern Washington, swinging flies for steelhead, sleeping in a tent in about a week or so from now. And that's my passion. That's what I love to do. And we don't kill any fish. We always let our fish go. So it's more about being out in the environment and appreciating the beauty of the peace and tranquility of being in a river.
Amazing stuff from Mark O'Meara. 16 times a winner on the PGA Tour, 2 major championships, 5 times he represented the United States on the Ryder Cup team, 2 times on the President's Cup team. He also won a major amongst the seniors on the PGA Tour champions. It was the senior players that he won. Mark O'Meara should have been a United States Ryder Cup captain, full stop. The fact that he wasn't just obviously came down to the fact of egos and agendas. But this was actually a picture that Mark texted to us. We've had Mark on a lot over the years. I think he's amazing. I think anytime you get a chance to speak with somebody that's enshrined in their sports Hall of Fame, you do it. And I'm not so sure that if there is a handicap when it comes to fishing, I'm not going to say that he's scratch or professional, but he's definitely a single digit with what he accomplished There he is with Tiger. I wonder where that one was taken. I wonder if that was actually done in Ireland. I know he's done a lot of fishing over there as well. Somebody's looking at that fish and going, that's not a fish that's in Ireland. I don't know. I'm not a fish guy, but I do respect that Mark O'Meara has his passions there too, and I hope he gets a chance to enjoy it as much as he possibly can with the incredible career that Mark O'Meara has put together. Frankie Capan won on the Korn Ferry Tour. Now, Frankie already had his card secured on his way to the PGA Tour, but Frankie was introduced to you guys probably through his great play, but maybe with that interview that we did with him. You remember where he came on and he was, I say this all the time when we get to know players, it was so easy to be a fan. Here is Frankie after winning once again on the Korn Ferry Tour.
It feels fantastic. It's been a lot of hard work, you know. I mean, you guys have known I've come close a few times. You know, had several top fives this year, so it really feels nice just to kind of get the monkey off my back, if you so say. But yeah, it was great. I mean, I'm just really happy and blessed to be standing with you here today, and just really excited with how my game has progressed, you know, from last year to this year, and, you know, just kind of continuing as this year has gone on. I've seen a lot more consistency and, you know, seen myself up in the mix a lot more. So it's been a lot of fun. It's everything. I mean, these are the moments that we work for. So I think, you know, I did a lot of learning last year, or, you know, I failed a lot, so I learned a lot. But yeah, it was great. I mean, I think for me, it's more just kind of putting the pieces together and kind of trying to figure out how they all fit, and, you know, was able to get them to fit pretty nicely this week. So yeah, it's been great. It's, you know, it feels tremendous to be here, and but yeah, I think for me it's more a lot of stuff off the course too is really important. Just because this game is so incredibly mental, and you have to be in the right frame of mind the entire time when you're out there. So I think, you know, a lot of my off-course stuff has gotten a lot better over the last year and a half.
All right, Frankie Capan III. He is now a winner on the Korn Ferry Tour as well, but he's had so many good finishes. That's why he's so high up. He's now fifth for Frankie. We wish him the very, very best. Excited about him getting to the PGA Tour. Excited about everything that lies in store with the President's Cup week upon us. We hope that you guys have a great week. Thank you very much for spending part of it with us. And until we are together again, we wish you the very, very best. Be well. Goodbye for now.